Good morning, everybody. Unless your name's Tim Sherwood, then you can just get in the bin. I know it's very early in the show to be rolling my sleeves up, but I'm going in on that absolute whopper of a man today. Anyway, should we speak about the Burnley game last night? 2 more points dropped against, 19th in the league. How many points we've dropped? Unfortunately, I'll tell you exactly how many points we've dropped. Fletcher's first game. We're going to speak about it. You're going to let me know what you thought about the game, about Sesko, about Lacey, about the performance, about Fletcher. We'll speak about Carrick and Solskjaer and the latest on what's going on there. And yeah, we'll just have a bit of a chat. And you know what's a bit mad? This morning show here today, probably going to be one of the quietest that we've had this week, and it's the morning after a match in the Premier League. That's how mad this week has been. Let me say hello to everybody. Please do get involved. Fire in your comments. I'll try and answer as many of you as I possibly can. It's going to be busy, but it always is. Steph, good morning to you. JC, Alex, to Gungshi, good morning to you, buddy. We've got Carl there as well. Josh, good morning to you. We've got Steve Denham. We've got Teresa, some members too. We've got Mirko, Smee. We've got Digley. We've got Asic, Michael Sykes, and one more. Dean, how you doing, buddy? Some non-members, we've got Corey 90, we've got Malpa, Lotus, we've got Jeff Hunter, Meshroom, and Sir Theophilus. Why didn't it go in? Anyway, let's run through the game. This is completely unrelated to Man United, but this really just made me laugh. Did you see this last night? Thomas Frank, somehow, accidentally, one sec. Yes, Screen Brush, you can have access for a month. Anyway. It could be worse. Like, it could be Thomas Frank this morning. Right? You could go and lose 3-2 away against Bournemouth. Obviously, with Semenyo's last kick of the game. Should we have a quick run through the results last night? I suppose that'll be a good place to start. No, I'm not going to tell you about an opportunity here and an opportunity there, because I'm bored of saying that. I'm bored of saying that. Forest, who cares about that one? Spurs losing to Bournemouth. Brentford comfortably beating Sunderland. Villa, I didn't realise Villa dropped points. Chelsea lost. City drew at the end. Every single game. All right. I'll run through where we are in the league. But yeah. Another game where Manchester United had an opportunity. I think that's literally, what is it? 5? Well, it's only the Newcastle game. We've drawn 3 in a row. So that's 3 consecutive weeks. It's a madness. It's an absolute madness. Someone down there saying, doesn't matter the coach. Is it Selly? Doesn't matter the coach or system, even the players. United is not able to play for 90 minutes without mistakes for a single game. I mean, most teams will make mistakes, right? I think it's completely unreasonable for us to expect a flawless Manchester United team every single game. However, we're seeing it on a very consistent basis, and I'm going to run through these games. But I want to ask you now, straight off the bat, before we speak about the result itself, so the running order, if you want to call it that, for today's show. We're going to speak about Fletcher now. Then we'll speak about the game, the frustrations, the drop points, the mistakes that we made. And then I'm loading that gun up because I'm going after Sherwood. I'm going after Neville. Not even just going after, but it's just, I want to have a conversation about how ridiculous the condition of punditry is in this country. And yeah, I've got quite a few things to say on it. Then we'll speak about Lacey. We'll speak about, as I said, the managers. Oh, wow. Mate, the man himself. Good morning, Gungshi. Man, I love this thing I've built here. I don't know what to call it. Well, I know what to call it. United People's TV. This community. We've got a meeting set, by the way, just to let you know, to discuss the next steps for the community. And I promise you that the quizzes are going to be coming back from next week. It's just this week has very much caught me off guard. Right, it really has caught me off guard. But can I, first of all, get your comments just on Fletcher, on what you saw last night from United? And then I'll give you mine. But I'm going to go and I'm going to read through a few of these. Can we skip through to Sky? Now, there's quite a few things I want to speak about before we get into the Sky conversation. Manny is saying, mental weakness aside, once Bruno came off, we saw why we needed midfield. Dude, when Bruno was on, we saw why we needed a midfield. I'm not going to tell you anything new about our midfield. And I'm not going to tell you anything new about Casemiro not marking a run behind him. I'm not going to tell you anything new about... Oh, to be fair, there was once where Ugarte made a great bloody ball-carrying run for like 30 yards. But that was about it. Man United's midfield is weak. Man United's midfield gets run through. Man United's midfield's a big problem in this team. It's the problem in this team. I didn't need to watch that Burnley game to learn that. You could play 2 in midfield, 3 in midfield. Still probably going to have the same issues. Let me see what you're saying. Yeah, it was obvious he was going to wear the bloody suit and tie, man. Obvious. New manager saying results with Bruno and Mount back. Steph saying United are like a boxer. Can't land a knockout blow before the end of the bout. We're just a cup side at the moment. Well, no, we're a mid-table side. Fletcher looks like a grounded person. I mean, yeah, we're not really asking for a character assessment on Fletcher. It's more like what you saw in the game last night. And I suppose the decisions. Do you think Fletcher's tactics 4-2-3-1 work more comfortably? Look, could Amram's back 3 system have worked? Yeah, of course it could have. I can't believe that we were that bad towards the end of Amram's reign. Like, we hadn't improved in it, and it just wasn't really going to work. Maybe it just wasn't Manchester United, if you want to call it that. But I'll be completely honest, when it comes to the United DNA and identity, it's got nothing to do with the formation. It really doesn't. No tactics from him. Looked a bit lost, says Siraj. You kind of watch a different game to me. United look pretty damn comfortable the whole game. Like, Burnley had 1 shot on target. The subs didn't change anything. I mean, I'm disagreeing with some of the comments down there. Man, Lacey was great when he came on. Xerxes? Well, Xerxes goes here and there. Look, the one thing I want to say about... I don't want to get into a conversation about United DNA and United identity, because I know loads of you are bored about it. You know what I genuinely think? And I actually feel this is what makes it so difficult. And what has made it so difficult talking about United identity. I genuinely think Man United's identity is not linked to a formation or an approach. I think it's linked to, this might sound strange, but it's linked to decisions. It's linked to sort of how you approach a game of football rather than the setup that you have. I'm not saying it's intangibles, but for example, the second half. Man United, we should have been ahead at half-time. Martinez's goal shouldn't have been disallowed. It was a dirty, deflected goal. Burnley sat in the shape exactly what I thought they would. And you thought they would as well. But United didn't panic. In the second half, we just kept going forward. Turn the screw, turn the screw, turn the screw. Pressure, 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 until it popped. And then it popped. Great goal. And then we kept going forward. We got the second goal. It popped. The whole momentum shift. You know what it feels like? Part of Man United's identity, I feel, is creating this sense of inevitability. That's what that second half felt like to me. When I was watching it, I was like, well, United are going to score. It just felt inevitable that United would score, and we did. It also felt inevitable that United would bloody concede again, and that United would drop points. Unfortunately, that's become part of our identity now. But anyway, that's kind of as far as I want to go about the identity talks. I quite liked how United played yesterday. I thought United easily deserved the 3 points. And you know what? You know one thing? Like last night, legitimately, was a freak result. Okay? Pure and utter freak result. 30 shots from United. 1 shot on target from a team who scored 2 goals. They got a deflected own goal. They had 2 ridiculous on-the-line saves from defenders. A great save from their goalkeeper as well. What else happened? Lacey hitting the bar. Bruno hitting the post. It was a freak result. The problem is, and here's why there's so much frustration down here, and understandably so, it's not been a freak result for Manchester United in the course of this season. Like that draw against Leeds at Ellen Road, I thought that was an all right point. That game last night should have been 3 points, man. And we did way more than enough to get 3 points. Oh, and the Martinez bloody disallowed goal. You can add that to it. But this is why we're all pissed off. We dropped points against Bournemouth, against Leeds, Newcastle, not Newcastle, but beat Newcastle, Nottingham Forest, West Ham, Burnley, Wolves. And you can now add Burnley to the list. I've said Burnley twice. Who cares? So that's why we're all so annoyed. That's why we're all sitting there going, oh, for fuck's sake, man. What is it? Like, freak results don't just happen to Manchester United. They happen to everybody. It's the fact that freak result comes after dropping points against Wolves at Old Trafford, which wasn't a freak result. That was just an awful game. And okay, but freak result is not the right way to describe it. But if you've watched that game of football, United could play that exact game of football 100 times and they're going to win it the other 99. That was a 1%er, if you ask me. You won't see it again. Not with the amount of chances we had, not with a disallowed goal, not with their own goal, not with the freak. Yeah. It's just frustrating. But unfortunately, again, it's just United dropping bloody points. And from winning positions again. How many times have we done that this season? My God. I can't even think. I think we lost the lead 3 times against Bournemouth. We dropped the points against West Ham, against Burnley, against Spurs, against Forest. So many occasions. And that's why the frustrations are absolutely bob on, by the way. We have given up loads of goals. We have been too easy to score against this season. Martinez did drop off and get done by a very basic dummy. It's kind of surprising because I think he's been quite good. He just made a mistake. Unfortunately for him, Anthony scored a worldie. Like again, very low percentage chance he's going to score on that goal again this season. We conceded 2 goals from 0.2 XG. Yeah, it's just... It feels very on brand for United right now. Uzi, first half, no identity. The whole system looked lost. You're just lying to get a reaction because it's not true. United conceded early and Burnley sat in a deep 5-4-1. The exact same system that United have struggled to break down for as many years as I can remember. I think there's in terms of the low block, I can't be asked to speak about how you break a low block down because you know what? I'll speak about midfield later, right? I can't be asked. I'm too pissed off about this to not speak about it now. Okay, I'll speak about the midfield. I'll speak about Casemiro Ugarte. I'll speak about other things. Like this is just. Hey, look, if you're not in England and you missed out on the Sky Sports punditry, I'll fill you in. Tim Sherwood. Who's a bad pundit the best of the times anyway. Before the game, I don't know where it came from, right? I honestly don't know where it came from. Saying that Sesko shouldn't be wearing the United shirt is simply not good enough. I've no idea where the viciousness came from at that point, right? Sesco then goes on to score 2 goals, right? So you would think there would be an element of humility coming into the punditry. I mean, fair enough. Like he scored 2 goals. Yeah, I still don't think he's good enough for United, but he proved me wrong here today. Mate, the fucker just doubles down. Like. I know I'm swearing. I apologise. If you've got any kids, cover you just an absolute A-grade twat. And I'll speak about Neville next, but you know what this is, right? This is This is Sky Sports trying to be relevant. It's like the uncle that's trying to impress the kids. Bingo, diggly, down there. It's all about clips. And I'll be honest, the industry that I'm in has caused this. This is why I hate Brent so much, because this sort of thing is fed by that. Doing dumb stuff, being clipped up, going viral, going somewhere else, looking like an absolute knob, but it doesn't matter. As long as you've got eyeballs on you, it doesn't matter to you. Some people have zero shame, zero embarrassment, and it's nothing about punditry. It's nothing about insight. It's nothing about analysis. It's just about rage baiting, which works. It's about winding people up. Sky Sports has totally fallen off, and people like wonder why I get so angry about this, because I dedicate my career to try and to make good content. Content creation is not the problem. The choices are the problem. And he's just an outdated whopper of a man. And it's all it is just trying to say, like, people aren't interested in, and the exact same thing has permeated Gary Neville. And how, look, he's just sold the overlap to global media. So he's got his own media empire. He knows exactly what works. He's probably having meetings about how to, I'm not saying he's getting tips on how to present, but how he presents, what he says. His mindset would have changed over the last couple of years in terms of doing his own thing and understanding that industry. And it's just, this is the sort of thing that we're all up against. And like Gary yesterday, I honestly think if you were to ask 100 12-year-old kids that didn't know, I suppose maybe they would know at that point, but have a guess, what Premier League team do you think Gary Neville played for? I don't even know how many would say Manchester United anymore. Like, he's lost any sort of affinity to our football club in order to please the overall masses. And it's not a case of like boycotting the overlap. It's just, man, I'm just disappointed, Gary, man. Like, what on earth are you going in on Sesko so hard for? And even he was kind of struggling to compliment him when the bloke scored two. I've never seen a striker score 2 Premier League goals in a game and get like no real compliments from anybody who was watching him, like Gary Neville or Tim Sherwood. It's just, I don't think it's going to change anytime soon. I think partly you can call this an Americanization of punditry if you want to. I think that's part of it. Like, if you look at CBS Sports, like, it works. It's a more entertaining show, because if you go and watch Sport in America, I don't know what the percentage is. I remember, I think I've told you this before. I went to an NFL game at Spurs Stadium. Who was it? Detroit Lions. I can't remember against who else. And I was just sat next to this old American couple. And I was like, you flew over for this? They're really nice. I just had a little chat to them about, it's like, this is my first NFL game. And I was like, just out of curiosity, as a percentage, like for your NFL day experience, as a percentage, how much of it is actually watching sport and how much of it is just entertainment and everything around it? And they were like, I don't know, like 30, 35, maybe 40, maybe about 35% is the sport. The rest is fireworks, punditry, halftime shows, everything else around the actual sport itself. And it feels like that's, I don't know. I'm just pissed off with Neville, man. Like, you are a Manchester United player. You have dealt with the fierceness of how difficult it is to be a Manchester United player. You have first-hand experience of being a young player coming through and how tough that is. Now, you don't have the first-hand experience of doing it in the social media landscape, so you could escape from it. You could close the door. But why on earth are you adding to the pylon? I think what we've, and this is probably the main reason I'm annoyed. The fact that Ruben Amorim name-dropped Gary Neville must have been like at least twice a few times. Like, Gary, mate, your voice carries. Gary Neville's comments carry influence. Far more than Tim Sherwood's ever will. Like, I'm more annoyed with Tim Sherwood. But I just think it's like Gary Neville's just like ignoring like the influence that his comments and his opinions are having on fucking United players, man. Like, if you're a United player, you're thinking, if I'm going to get support from anyone in the press, like, I know it's like dog eat dog, and it's like ribbing your rivals, and it's getting one over on the other. You'd think you get your support from Neville and Scholes and Keane and the players who have been here and done it before. Like, stand your ground. It's the total opposite now. It's just mad disappointing. It really is. And for Sesko last night, well done, man. Yeah, anyway, my lunchtime video, I'm loading up. I'm going in double hard on these. And the reason it's important, by the way, the reason it's important for me to do these in lunchtime videos is because we can have this conversation in a live show, but it's in the middle of a live show. I dedicate a video to it. It's likely that might carry through a little bit further. And that's kind of why maybe sometimes in a day I might have the same conversation twice, but one's in a live format, and not everybody has the opportunity to tune into live shows. I just wanted to say that. I hate the fact that I hate who gets the eyeballs, man. And it's a chase for like analysis, and analysis is nowhere near as important anymore, man. Just saying the most extreme things is what matters most. Not whether they're correct, not whether they're true, or not whether you can back them up at all. You just have to be the loudest. And you have to be the biggest dancing monkey. And if you can do that, and you've got no shame, and you're happy to be pointed at, and happy to be laughed at, you're going to be flying to the top. It's just a really difficult industry to navigate, man. Really is. Call it shock value if you want. I don't know. It pisses me off so much. Beyond belief. Zach, how you doing, buddy? Saying it's overlooked when people talk about how bad we are. Is the club perpetually caving to the media mob and pundits? One of Fergie's strengths was insulting players from it. That's the idea. You know what? I know what you mean, like insulating players from it, but I like the idea of Fergie going in and saying, right, so I've seen this said about you, so I'm just going to go double hard on it. That's what Fergie did, man. Fergie closed the doors. The best example of that, and I could do a whole documentary on it, is the Beckham 99. Red card, World Cup, hanging effigies, burning effigies, villain of the whole nation, comes back to Old Trafford, boom, doors closed, United win the treble. He should have won the Ballon d'Or. Rivaldo stole it. That's the greatest example of manager protection for the biggest player in the entire world. JC is saying, before we get a new manager confirmed, can we try to be defined by what we like rather than what we don't? Positivity helps with the general mood. Yeah, that's kind of like a glass half full, glass half empty approach, JC. There's just different ways to look at things if you want to. Like I could go and I could do a video on picking apart like all the problems that I would see with Solskjaer, or the problems I would see with Carrick. I'll do the other way around. That's what I mean. It's choices. A lot of content is about choices. A lot of what you say is about choices. How you look at things is about choices. And you can look at pretty much anything in life, and you can rip apart the bad things about it if you want to. And you can focus on that. And that, ladies and gents, is a mindset which will take you down a bad path eventually. Not that I'm saying sit here and look at sunshine and rainbows, because that will make you naive. It's about learning in life. I'm giving fucking life lessons here, man. Jesus. It just annoys me It really annoys me. It gets to me badly because I try my best, and no matter how much I try, there's someone else who just do some dumbass shit, and then everyone will put the eyeballs on them instead. Yeah. Pyro saying, Sam, it'll be interesting to find out how Mbeumo and Ahmad will be adjusting this new formation. I'm looking forward to, I don't know, give it 3 weeks' time before people are getting angry because you can't fit Mbeumo and Ahmad in the same team, which is going to happen, by the way. The only way you get them both in the same team is if Mbeumo ends up playing on the left, but then you play Cunha in the middle, and then there's no space for Bruno to play number 10. I don't know. You can't fit. And Ahmad and Mbeumo both want to play that right wing position. People are going to get annoyed about that. Oh, that was a bit of a rant, if I'm honest. It's because I spend so much of my life. Yeah, the rage bait has worked on me, I'll be honest. It's because we've got such a big team here now at United People's TV. I'm going through loads of changes behind the scenes right now, trying to bring new things in, trying to work and be as professional as we possibly can. And to try, like, we're going to be starting to try and make some more shorts content. But how do you do that without going down the same path that everyone else is going to go? That's the wrong one. Everyone else is going to go down. How do you get some visibility without just doing what everyone else is doing and jumping and rage baiting and clipping and this and that? I don't know. It's so difficult. So difficult. Anyway. Yeah, a little bit of a rant here. Right. Should we talk about Sesko? Really happy for him, man. They were two really good goals as well, by the way. First one, of course, it was Bruno with the ball. Bruno was getting frustrated in that first half yesterday because Burnley were just so stacked, and I don't know whether they had a plan to just surround Bruno, but Bruno was kind of surrounded. Every time Bruno had the ball, there was somebody on his shoulder. He couldn't really do much. So he ended up seeing Bruno dropping deeper. Second half, and I don't know how it was sort of missed in the commentary, but Cunha was moved out wide, and it had nothing really to do with... No, Cunha was moved in the middle, and Bruno was moved out wide. And it had nothing to do with playing Cunha more central. It was to do with freeing Bruno up. And it freed Bruno up. That was actually a good choice by... Fletcher. I thought it was an interesting choice to put Dorgu on the left and Cunha on the right. I suppose we're just so used to seeing... We are so used to seeing United players invert, aren't we? We're so used to seeing our wingers get towards the edge of the box and then cut inside and shoot from the edge, that we've kind of forgotten that you can actually have a left-footed player on the left who might swing a crossing and a right-footed player on the right who might swing a crossing. That's exactly how the second goal came, by the way. Dorgu cross. Sesko, mate, that second goal was lovely. That second goal was so good. Wasn't it? Just two very good finishes. And he was on that third one, I think was it Shaw? Ball that was just behind Sesko, and he kind of just, he fluffed his lines a little bit. He'll be delighted with that. Oh, I'd say delighted to a sense, because ultimately we dropped 2 points. So there's only so far you can celebrate that. But Fletcher was speaking after the game, he was saying this, because I spoke to him yesterday, showed him a video of his runs and his goals to show him that he just needs to keep believing in it and that the players will need to give him more passes. And I thought yesterday he had a bit more service. Players were like heads up, kind of looking for Sesko. Wasn't able to make all the balls up to him stick in the first half. It was, balls are sometimes bouncing off him. But I think in the grand scheme of his season, he needed that on a personal level. That's going to be your biggest positive you're taking out from that yesterday. On a personal level, he got 2 goals, doubled his tally for the season. That'll fill him with a bit more confidence, which is exactly what we need, by the way, going into our next 3 games, where Brighton is our only chance of silverware. And can I just say this? If Solskjaer does come in, the importance of that FA Cup to me will go up like tenfold. Because I would be desperate to see Solskjaer lift the trophy as a Manchester United manager. I cannot tell you how much that Europa League final hurt me. That was like deep, deep trauma. Not only just for the fact that it was a bloody like 11-10 on the penalties and De Gea missed, but just Ole not getting a trophy. Anyway, I'll speak about the managers next. Let me see what you're saying down here. Early crosses from Bruno. Good stuff. Do I think Casemiro's done? I'll speak about the midfielders in a little bit. Højlund would have scored a hat-trick. Huh? Weird one. Well, anyway, it kind of goes back to the point I said at the start of the season. I would much rather United had spent the big money on a midfielder rather than Sesko. And I don't mean that as a slight to him as a player. I mean that for exactly what we need in a squad. And I suppose it's kind of a fair point and a fair time to speak about that. Two things, actually. Number one. Yeah, sorry, everybody. I shouldn't have mentioned that final because I've just brought out some trauma there. My bad. That decision, mate, I couldn't get my head around that decision. Like, again, like, red-tinted specs off. How are you giving that as a foul? Martinez with Walker just doing what everyone does, and just Walker just fell over, just flops up, just fell over like a sack of spuds. I don't know how you're giving that as a foul. I really, really don't. As I said, like, sort of red tinted. I'm not saying that from a Manchester United perspective. You'll see that goal scored in plenty of other Premier League games, and nothing's going to happen, right? That's just one of those ones that randomly the calls get made, and it was obviously Man United. I would probably say the biggest problem yesterday. I'm not saying just Casemiro. I'm saying Ugarte as well. But just Manchester United's midfield. Like, Casemiro obviously made a mistake for the first goal. Heaven's unlucky, right? Could Heaven have closed down? Maybe, but Heaven wasn't the ultimate person really at fault for that. Casemiro was stood next to his man, didn't track his runner. He ran behind him. And Casemiro won't ever track runners. Maybe you'll see that more in the midfield too. I don't quite know. I said, well, the midfield too existed in Amorim's system as well. It's going to be a problem all fucking season, people. Until we sign the midfielders, this midfield is going to be the big issue. They ran through us. Even Burnley ran through us quite a few times yesterday. Even so, we did enough to win that game. If it wasn't for the VAR decision on... Was it VAR? Would you even put that down to VAR? Not really. VAR wasn't the problem there, if I'm being honest. Because it was such a... I suppose VAR was a problem part of it. But it's just... It shouldn't have happened. It shouldn't have happened. And I've got to move on to something I don't want to move on to. Why did it have to hit the button? I can only laugh at this. I really can only laugh like this. In fact, let me go down and see what you're saying about Casemiro and Ugarte first, and then we'll move on to speaking about Lacey. Yeah, Casemiro was very, very stagnant. It's just that movement's not part of his game, man. What are you saying down here? Did hope for a hat trick for Sesko, so did I. But look, midfield is not going to get sorted until we sign a midfielder. As for this lad, well, and again, I go back to the start of the video. I was talking about choices, and I was talking about Darren Fletcher's choice. Ugarte came off. Lacey went on. Mount dropped back into a midfield 2. It's not a midfield you'd ever start a game with, but it's a midfield you'd end a game with as a Manchester United manager when you want to score a goal. And that leads back into sort of the frustrations that a lot of us had with Amorim and the subs. Like the Everton game, for example, it was always like for like, and the system never changed. The approach never changed. It wasn't like an Ugarte off for a Lacey. I really liked Fletcher's comments after the game. He's basically saying to him, look, stay wide, stay on the touchline, you do you. And it's exactly what Lacey did. Head down, cut inside, whip it in. Oh, why did it go in? Would have been perfect. And very, very deserved, by the way. I don't know what... Someone's saying it's 4-1, 4-1 at the end. It was... It was just United. It was United going, it's 2-2. Screw that. Let's go for the winner instead of settling on this. There could have been a situation where Mason Mount gets run through in midfield by Okechukwu, and then all of a sudden United go, never mind. That was a bad mistake. But we went for the game, but obviously that didn't happen. You get the point. Lacey? I honestly wouldn't be surprised if he started against Brighton. I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know whether that's an outrage. I don't think that's an outrageous thing to say. But it wouldn't shock me. And one thing I'm really, really happy with is this. Really happy that Darren Fletcher's getting that opportunity at Old Trafford, man. It may well be that Fletcher leaves. I'll speak about what's happening next. But I'm just delighted he's going to get the memory of walking out at Old Trafford as United boss. And it may well be that Shea Lacey's in that starting 11. We'll find out. Let me see what you're saying, Danny. When the youth play as they do in the youth, they're useful. Yeah, you know one thing I would say about yesterday? I'd say for the majority, would I say the majority? Maybe not everybody. Maybe I might retract that statement. I was going to say that everyone, it felt like we were playing players in their better positions. Like Bruno was playing in his better position, but I think Cunha would have been more effective off the left. Do I think Dorgu would have been more effective off the right? I don't know. Dorgu shouldn't really be one of Manchester United's starting attackers. If I'm being honest, you're probably putting Cunha on the left against Brighton, and you're probably putting Lacey on the right. And I think that would feel a little bit more natural and a little bit more quality. The way that he played when he came on, and actually the way that he played in his debut against Villa as well. Fearless is the word I would use. You know that there's like this, when you watch the best youth players come through, and I'll be honest, Garnacho really had this when he first came through too. Just this utter fearlessness. Because they're completely naive to it. They haven't been in the Premier League before. They're like, it's just another game of football. It's not, but you don't know that yet. And it's that naivety which allows them to just look so free when they're playing. That's what we enjoy watching as United fans. Taking gambles, taking chances, risking it. They might not always work, but you'd always rather risk it than sit there and go, I wish we'd done that instead. Yeah, someone down there, I think that's fair enough. Look, I think Ugarte has been better, but Ugarte's still not enough. Then both of those things are very, very correct at the same time. Cunha still needs to balance the driving runs with passing. There was one really good run he made down that right-hand side yesterday. I was like, I like that. Right. Should we speak about these? Because we're still in the midst of... Well, we're still in the midst of the madness, really. Solskjaer and Carrick. As it stands, this is the latest update that we've heard, right? From Chris Wheeler from the Daily Mail. Which is a big part of what we were speaking about yesterday. And I was like, do I think that Carrick, at this point in his career, would be ready to step in as a number 2? And part of me was like, well, no, he's been number 1 at Middlesbrough for a couple of years. Like, why would he do that? But then I think some of you fairly said, well, Sam, it's January. He's not going to have a job until the summer. So it's kind of like a free hit, if you want to call it that. It's like 4 months being Manchester United's assistant manager where you otherwise wouldn't be doing anything is better than doing nothing. And I think that's where I kind of swayed my thought. So you got Chris Wheeler saying that he'd be happy to be the number 2 if Solskjaer gets the nod. I would be very, very surprised if whatever way round it is, it's both of them. It's Carrick and Solskjaer, or it's Solskjaer and Carrick. I just don't know which way yet. And I think there is a chance, by the way, that I can stand by what I said. I think there's a chance that Fletcher is part of it as well. Don't know whether Johnny Evans. I mean, he wants to learn, but I think I mentioned this before. You imagine being Helen Evans. It's like Johnny Evans going, you know what, lads? I can't do that head of loans role. I want to spend more time with my family. Everyone's like, right. You know what, Johnny? Fair enough. Like, you go and enjoy some time with your family. 2 weeks later, Helen, you know what I said about spending time with the family? They want me to be assistant manager. See ya. Anyway, that did make me laugh. So yeah, the consensus is that Carrick will be fine being number 2, and we know that Solskjaer would do pretty much any role that Manchester United asked him to do. I think it'll be one of those two as number 1, and the other is number 2. That's how it works. Where will Fletcher fit in? Well, Fletcher, largely from an experience perspective, most of his experience exists on the training ground. Coaching. That's where he would fit in. Right? And of course, there's, as I said, all the videos I'm doing this week, I'm doing them in the order I feel they need to be released. There's still conversations I'm having about Solskjaer, about Carrick. I'm loaded. I don't care about Wilcox or Beretta right now. I want to go after Sherwood and Neville from yesterday. But there will be, what would I call them? I'm not going to use the word hit pieces. There's going to be videos I'm doing which are really going to call in the accountability of Wilcox and Beretta. And I think I said this to you yesterday. I have a responsibility to make sure everything I say in these videos is correct. And I will, because they've made a lot of bad decisions. Poor decisions. The 3 big ones, of course, Ashworth, Ten Hag, and the Amram situation. And I'll run through all of that. But my point is, I'm not ignoring anything to do with Ineos and anything to do with Wilcox or Beretta. It's just I'm talking about everything to do with the first team and what's going on with the fact that we're playing Premier League games on Wednesday. We're sacking managers and we're bringing in interim managers and then we're bringing in caretaker managers. I'm having a conversation about that first, and then I will have the conversation about those. But all in all, I think every United fan has every right to ultimately be pissed off at what happened against Burnley. It's 2 more points dropped. I think that now means that since the start of November, we've dropped points out of games against 6 out of the bottom 7? Something like that. It's infuriating. But last night, United deserved to win. I'll be honest, United did enough to win that game twice. That really was a freak, not result, because it's not a freak result, because we get a load of bloody draws, but it's a freak, I don't know, game. Good to see Sesko getting 2. That's the biggest positive. The way that Fletcher approached the game, yeah, he was brave with decisions. He was forward-thinking with his decisions, and his choices were good. Ultimately, it wasn't enough, but that's just this Manchester United team. Ultimately, it's not enough. How long have we been saying that? Zach is saying Ole would be inheriting a much better dressing room this time around. Even though we're awful, I'd say a better squad. I'm trying to think the squad that he inherited. Rashford coming through. Pogba was there. Was Lukaku? I think Lukaku was still there, wasn't he? I think he was. He definitely was. Lingard. Herrera. Yeah, I think the squad's better. Midfield's a bit whiffy. But that is, that's going without saying. Let me see what it's saying down here. Didn't miss any super chats, did I? I don't think. Oh, look. Hamish saying reverse fixture. United 3.6. Oh, there's a lot of XG going on there. A lot of XG. You're saying player quality or mentality issues. Manny, you're saying I love seeing Dorgu cross like Giggs into Sesco, who finished like Berbatov. Whoa, that's a lot. And Jace, you're saying wanted to be positive this morning. Sesco was good. 30 shots. Players look comfortable. You can win the United way. PSG won the Champions League doing it. I liked what I saw yesterday in the approach. I liked what I saw from United. I really enjoyed the second half. But we dropped bloody points. Frustrating. Really, really frustrating. Overall, again, how many times have we said that? And how many times have we said the Man United have missed out on an opportunity to do X this season? That's another one. 1 win in our last 5, 3 consecutive draws. And can I finish with this note here, right? We're very much now at the point where these frustrations and these missed opportunities are going to make us really kind of drop out of contention. Our next 2 games are against number 2 and number 1. And we are currently, we're 12, what are we? 11 points off 3rd. I mean, good luck getting 2 wins against Arsenal and City, considering how we've been playing in these other games. But something we do know is that United kind of turn up in these big games. I've got no idea what to expect in them. I have no idea who our bloody manager is going to be. So how can I possibly know what to expect? But yeah, strap yourselves in because the next 2 games are going to be big. And after all these drop points and frustrations, that's when these gaps can really start to appear. We haven't taken advantage of our opportunities. Now we've got to make them against City and Arsenal. Anyway, Brighton first. I'll speak about that. I'll be here tomorrow. Lunchtime video today is going to be on, the abomination that is Sky Sports these days. Thank you all for tuning in. If you are new, please do consider subscribing. I'll see you soon.